Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, before any video, I want to give all and glory to Yahweh by Shemi Hawashai. We also want to give a shout out to my real for the reading. And we're going to get into this thing, part two. If brothers and sisters haven't seen part one of our digging up history or digging up hidden history, I dropped that yesterday. So brothers and sisters, definitely go watch that. It was some very interesting history that went on in the America that we didn't know about. So that was part one. Now we're doing part two of digging up hidden history, going into the state of Georgia. It's two big events that happened the state of Georgia. I know the Camilla slaughter, the massacre. I think that was in 1868. Then you got the Atlanta massacre, which was in 1906. Now I'm from Georgia, and it's crazy. I'm from Jerusalem. That's right. I'm from Jerusalem, but I was born here in Georgia. And I haven't heard of none of these massacres, until you start doing your research. I ain't hear about the Atlanta massacre in 1906, or I ain't hear about the Camilla massacre in 1868. I'm from Georgia. I'm the Camilla massacre. It also happened in Albany as well. I think it translated to Albany, and I'm like, Albany just down the road. I'm literally right beside Albany. I really went to Albany State University, so I went to school, college in Albany. So just imagine you going there, you staying there on campus, and you in history class, and they ain't even telling you about this. They ain't telling you about this event that happened in the city that you in. Or in Atlanta, they tell you about the black-owned businesses. They call it the Black Mecca, right? But they don't tell you what about this event that happened in 1906 in Atlanta, Georgia. Like, what's going on? Why we ain't learning about this? And it's Black History Month, but nobody's talking about this. It's like it's history that been dug under the dirt. But it's our job to dig that history back up, grab the shovel, go to the dirt where it's at, dig it up, and show our people, man. Show our people how far we came, and show our people how wicked the so-called white people is. Because it goes back to power. These two articles, all it is to go back. They fear that they're gonna lose their power to us. So that's why it made them start rioting and start killing us, man. That happened in the article we read in part one. The same as that thing. They did the same thing. So I'm gonna get into this thing because I don't got long. I got a call, in the hour. So we're gonna knock this thing got through the spirit. Lord, want to be edifying the brothers and sisters, man. And this happened in Georgia. The two events that we doing happened in the state of Georgia. But y'all want to say that. So let's get into this thing through the spirit.
Said Black Mecca. I'm over here Googling rich black cities and all that.
For real? Hey, they call Atlanta the Mecca.
Yeah, because it's where a lot of opportunity is for us.
Yeah, so-called opportunity. Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah,
It's a lot of.
and that's honestly that's where a lot of like if you go to Atlanta and you see Israel be like wealthy in that area.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of wealthy Israelites in the area.
Which one is this one? Is the Camilla one? The Camilla massacre?
Yes, sir.
Like I say, Camilla and Albany is only like 31 minutes away from each other. Like when I was when I was at Albany State and I used to go to the camp in Tallahassee, I think I used to go through Camilla to get to Tallahassee. So I'm going through this small city and I ain't thinking nothing of it. I ain't thinking like, bro, this is exactly where this massacre took place at. Cause I ain't know. But now next time I ride through there, or even just go to Albany, or even just go to Atlanta, I'm be thinking about the massacres, man. I'm driving, just thinking about massacre. Like, dang, that's crazy, bro. It happened right here, man. Pecan, you got it.
Come on September 19, 1868, as black politicians and supporters had a peaceful political rally, mobs of white people in Camilla, Georgia, led by the sheriff, opened fire, killing at least 7 black people, including a black mother and her infant child, in a mass lynching. and assaulting and wounding at least 30 others.
Hey, babe. Yeah, you got it. Try to mute and unmute because on my end it's kind of staticky. You know what it's saying, but
Can you hear me now?
It's still kind of staticky.
It's staticky on my end too.
When I'm talking?
It's a static on my end too.
Hold on just a second. Just a second. I'll be right back. Let me see something. Testing. You on mute.
So like you were talking, I said you sound way better.
It sound better? You sound better too. See?
Perfect.
You know what I'm saying?
Perfect. Okay, Con.
It's like, can you reread? My bad.
Of course.
Con.
On September 19th, 1868, as Black politicians and supporters held a peaceful political rally, mobs of white people in Camilla, Georgia, led by the sheriff, opened fire, killing at least 7 Black people, including a Black mother and her infant child, in a mass lynching and assaulting and wounding at least 30 others.
Con. So, my bad, I was laughing. I was just thinking, you know what I think about?
What?
I was like, when we had talk, I was like, hey,
Take a pause.
Take a pause so I can say something. So I was finna say something. Like, let me see if she gonna pause.
I pause.
All praises. But going back up, now this mob, and it's why we have as so-called African Americans and so-called Hispanics, we have a very hard time with trusting the police, man. And it's in our blood too because of the things that happened throughout history. Here you have a mob. This is Camilla, Georgia. You have a mob of white people now, angry white people. Now you see on those movies they had them little sticks in their hand with the fire. They be ready.
Torches.
Yeah, torches.
Mm-hmm.
They walking, yelling, turning red, right? But it's led by the sheriff. You have a mob of white people. Probably mostly was KKK members. You had a lot of them that maybe was in the KKK. Red skin. I mean, what they call them? Shaved heads, the Nazis, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They were led by the sheriff. So that's why we have time even trusting the police department because they do things like this. They lead mobs. You know what I'm saying? They be in the front and the center, and it's hard to beat them when you have the sheriff and the police department backing them and being the center of it. And they say they open fire. You had something, babe? Oh my God. It's what you
I'm just
broke
saying
up.
facts, like I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, it had broke up. But it said they killed at least 7 Black people.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. It said they killed 7 Black people, including a Black mother and her infant child. So not only was they killing adults, not only was they killing men, huh? You can hear me? You can hear me? Okay. Not only was they killing men, they was killing women. Not only was they killing women, they was killing infants, little children. You know what I'm saying? They ain't have no. Now this is in Camilla, Georgia. Literally, I know where this place is. It's not far from me, man. Right? Literally happened right here beside me. But you got it.
The political rally, which started in Albany, Georgia, and culminated in Camilla, Georgia, was held to protest the expulsion of Black elected officials from the Georgia Assembly. So when we look up the word culminated, it means, I think it just means like to transfer over to or something. I don't know. You come to a head, reach the finale. So basically it transferred to Camilla and it ended in Camilla. And expulsion just mean counsel. So they was basically trying to counsel all the Israelites that was electing, put up for election.
So you saying it started in Camilla and then it transferred? Well, it started in Albany.
And then like it transferred to Georgia in it there, and so like it transferred to um Camilla.
Because like I said in the beginning, they only like 31 minutes apart. So, and I think it said in this article how you had a brother that literally marched from Albany to Camilla. So it's like a 31 minute drive. So imagine how long he was marching to Camilla. What you got it?
In an effort to terrorize black communities further over the weeks following the massacre, white men from Camilla and the surrounding areas intimidated and assaulted black people throughout the Georgia countryside, threatening to kill any black person who dared to vote in the next election.
So this is their true colors, man. You know, you had the so-called white people, they'll smile in your face. You know what I'm saying? As long as they're above you, it ain't no problem. As long as they got their foot on your neck and you got to go to them for everything, you'll have no problem with them. But soon as you start getting in power, soon as you start they start seeing like, hold up, they growing, bro. Oh, bro, he getting a little bit of money. That's when you become a problem to them. They look at you as a threat. This throughout history. I'm not saying this out my own mouth. I got proof. These articles let you know this is throughout history. Every time a so-called black man or as us as a whole was doing something, thriving in our communities, or they feared or thriving, that we were thriving in the communities, or they seen something in us that they feared that they were gonna lose their power, they started doing massacres, man. That was their way of trying to stop us from growing by killing us. They tried to kill any black person who dared to vote. So you couldn't even go to vote without them trying to kill you, man. You feel what I'm saying? But you got it.
In the period after the Civil War, black men seized new opportunities for political power by exercising their right to vote, running for office, and holding political positions. And seize means to basically capture and take hold of. So they basically wasn't letting them stop them. Like they was trying to get a hold of these new opportunities.
Right. They weren't letting them so-called Edomites stop them, basically. And white people stopped them. They had that thrive, that zeal. But you got it.
In an effort to uphold racial hierarchy, which white state legislator devised a strategy, that's that song, to purge the Georgia Assembly of the 33 black and mixed race men who had been democratically elected.
Sorry.
My bad,
man. You good. So they came up with a strategy, and that goes back to Psalms. Matter of fact, can you get that back? Can you like keep the screen? But yeah, go to Psalms 83 because they've been doing this since the beginning. They came up with an idea behind closed doors. They came up with crafty counsel on how to destroy us, and they've been doing that since the beginning. But you got it.
Verse 2, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up thy head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off of being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee.
Right, so they was doing, and it says at verse 6, the tabernacles of Edom. Now it lets you know that Edom are the Edomites, which are the so-called white people. That's their biblical nationality. In the Bible is Esau. And they have been plotting on us since the beginning of time. So it say they devised a plan against us, meaning they meditated on how to stop us from voting. They meditated on how to stop us from thriving in our black communities. They thought about these things. So when that massacre kicked off and it was killing us, they thought about that. How wicked do you have to be to sit down and meditate how to kill a group of people from thriving? You know what I'm saying? They ain't even messing with you, bro. They ain't even worried about you. But yet you come into their community and they come and murder them. You know what I'm saying? That's the so-called white man. This is their history that they want to hide from you. This is American history that they don't want to tell us about. Right? They'll show you the Statue of Liberty. They'll tell you about 4th of July. They'll tell you about Abraham Lincoln, how he was an honest man. They'll tell you about George Washington, which was a slave master. You know what I'm saying? They'll tell you about him. They'll tell you about um uh 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 Johnny Appleseed, talking about he was the first man to plant an apple tree. They'll tell you about them people, right? But they won't tell you about this history right here. They won't tell you about it, but you got it. Okay, con. Uh, where you left off at, it's like my rib doing something, so I'm gonna try to take over real quick until she ready to talk. On September 3rd, ignoring the results of the democratic process, the white majority successfully voted to expel all black and mixed race lawmakers from the assembly. Now look at that word expel. Now it said they said it. Now they plotted to do this. So they came up with like, we not finna let them do that. Right? Stop them from doing it. They basically tried to ban us. Basically what it is. Throw out, bar, ban, see, ban, the bar, drum out. So they tried to ban us from doing it. That's why it took so long for us to get so-called voting rights. You know what I'm saying? Because they banned us. They came up with ideas like this. And even when we did have the right to vote, you know, they was, like the brother Ratazan said, they were still putting crack in the hoods in the 80s. We voted. Why would you vote for a system that's putting crack in your neighborhoods? Why would you vote for a system that's putting guns and drugs in your neighborhoods? That don't care nothing about your kids? That's putting wicked celebrities over your kids? Why would you vote for a group? Why would you vote for them? It don't make sense. Voting never got us nowhere. You know, and our people really lost their lives for trying to vote. Literally, you had brothers and sisters literally get put to death for trying to vote. But you can go back to the article. On the morning of September 19th, one of the expelled black lawmakers named Philip Joyner organized a 25-mile peaceful march. This is how you notice our people. We always marching. We've been marching since the beginning. What is 1865? We've been marching since the beginning, bro. We always marching. Uh, Marched from Albany, Georgia, to the town of Camilla, Georgia. 25 miles. They marched for 25 miles. And it said, the group, composed of a few hundred people, marched with a plan to deliver political speeches in Camilla. An armed white man and the sheriff met them outside town. It sounds like a movie. That's where they get from. That's where they get these movies from. Them racial movies. This stuff actually happened. They met them outside. You can imagine that right now. We marching up and they meeting us outside. Probably got a shotgun. Some got a pistol. They ready to pop our ass. It said an armed white man and the sheriff met them outside town and warned them that white residents were prepared to respond with violence. And my thing is, why are you responding with violence? We just marching. That's how much they look at us as a threat. We don't have guns. We're literally marching to try to set the tone. Well, we're trying to march to basically let them know that what they're doing is wrong. Set things straight. Cause when our people march, what the reason why people march is to get the people that's going against them attention. To basically be like, we're not giving up, we're not letting down. That's the reason why a lot of our people march. But they saying they're gonna respond with violence. That's how much they fear numbers, bro. The so-called white man, they fear numbers. When they see hundreds of people walking, you know what I'm saying, marching, they think, hold up, man, there's a lot of them. We got to scrap up. But we don't look like when we see 100 people coming to us, we don't feel like that. We don't feel like that's violence. But when they see us coming like that, they feel like their life is on the line. Marching or not, they feel like that. Respond with violence if they honor their speaking
I
You
can
can read it?
start back.
Okay.
So I can. An armed white man and a sheriff met them outside town and warned them that white residents were prepared to respond with violence if they honored their speaking engagement. When the men refused to be intimidated, the sheriff informed them that the people would not allow radicals to speak at Camilla.
Radicals. Another byword. I bet it's another byword. What did radical mean?
A person who
Revolution.
advocates something.
So revolutionary people, like kind of like Huey P. Newton, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, revolutionary
Basically, yeah.
people. Yeah. Okay. Madness, but yeah,
By
madness.
the time the group reached the courthouse square in Camilla, they were met by the sheriff, who, instead of protecting their constitutional right to assembly, had mobilized white men in Camilla to ambush the group. Stationed out. Oh.
No, you ain't had nothing to say about that. You good.
Stationed outside of storefronts and surrounding the courthouse square, armed white men shot at the lawmakers and their supporters and then pursued them with bloodhounds, horses, and shotguns for 10 miles outside of Camilla. Eyewitnesses' accounts later recounted that shots were fired at black people as they ran for cover in the woods outside town. Even those already wounded or dead on the ground were shot repeatedly.
So they basically treating us like dogs, bro. They literally ran us out the city. We didn't do nothing to them. The article don't say we shot back. The article don't say, you know what I'm saying, we came with violence. They came with all the violence, man. Them are the people that we need to fear. The so-called white people, those are the people that we need to have our own. I'm telling you, man, history don't lie. They might try to cover it up, try to act like it didn't happen, but this history happened. Innocent bloodshed was shed in these massacres. That was the Lord coming back to judge this place, man. That was the Lord coming back to put these Edomites to death, which are the so-called white people. He's coming back to put them to death for crimes like this. They still haven't paid for this stuff, bro. Here we is in 2023, so-called 2023. And we still have so-called white people walking around here to this day on stolen land. Got the stuff that they got because of massacres like this. Got the power they got from stuff like this. But yet they still here. They still having children. They don't have to pay for these things, bro. You gotta think these are not just African Americans, right? These ain't just so-called black people, Negroes. These are the Israelites. These are God's chosen people that you're doing these crimes to. So the Lord didn't forget about this, man. If He judged us as a whole, what make you think the Lord ain't gonna judge y'all as a whole? And we are His chosen people. We are His chosen people, but yet we got put through slavery for being disobedient. So what make you think He's not gonna do y'all even worse? And y'all ain't even His chosen people. Y'all ain't even His people. You see what I'm saying? So the judgment is coming, man. Just wait. But you got it.
Con, and a precept to back that up.
Break it down. Ain't that out?
Obadiah 1:15. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head.
Right. So the Bible said, "For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen," because all these heathens, all these other nations, these other races that are not Israelites, they had our people in slavery sometime throughout history. So the Lord said, "Hey, man, they judgment coming. They judgment is coming for the slavery, for these massacres. They gonna have to pay for what they did. They gonna have to drink of that cup that they poured on, that they made us drink out of. They gonna have to drink out that cup." And it's gonna be 10 times more. It shall be done unto them. See, as thou have done. So the Bible saying, as these heathen did to us, it's gonna be done unto them. Their reward shall return upon their own head. So they judgment is gonna return upon their own head. It's gonna be a whole 360, and it's gonna be on them. But you got it.
It was breaking up real bad. Satan really hopping on my live.
You ain't hear what I said?
Not really. It was breaking up.
I was just saying what when they said, and thou have done, it shall be done to thee. So it's basically saying what these heathen did. We're reading about these massacres, all this stuff that they done to us is gonna be done to them. Their reward shall return upon their own head. So the things that they done to us is gonna be a whole 360. Right? Their reward the bloodshed, all the bloodshed that they did to us is gonna return upon their own head. That's called judgment. In the world in today's time, we call it karma. What goes around comes around. That's what's gonna happen. That's real, man.
Bring
What
that
they
out.
did to our people, huh?
I said, bring that out.
What they did to our people is gonna come back on them. A lot of them know that. A lot of them know that they're gonna have to pay someday for being on stolen land. You know what I'm saying? And doing this stuff, they gonna have to pay for that. They know that. A lot of them know that. That's why they fear that. They fear when we be in rulership because they understand if we in rulership, they can't be in rulership. They're gonna have to be under us. They're gonna have to be slaves. They're gonna have to be servants. Isaiah 14:1 and 2 say that. Right? But you can go back to the article, babe.
By the end of this mass lynching, at least 7 black people lay dead, at least 30 more were wounded. One 20-year-old black man reported that after being pursued by a group of armed white men into a ditch, he was struck on the head with a gun and forced to go back to Camilla to pick up the bodies before he escaped.
What? So he was hit in the head with a gun and forced to go back to pick up the bodies that they did.
Yep.
He was forced to go pick up the bodies that they killed. See how wicked that is? But people want to love these people. People want to trust these people and say we all one. Let the past go. The past is in the past. That's what people say. How can you forget about this stuff? This is not no little. This is not something that you take lightly. This is about your history. This is about you and about your ancestors. Our people love always talking about their ancestors. This is what happened to your ancestors. So instead of trying to forget it, you need to start trying to learn it. Learn your history. But you got it.
The Camilla massacre not only took the lives of black people on September 19th, but traumatized black communities and served as a deterrent to those who dared to exercise their political rights.
So it was like now it's like it's a fear thing now because our people don't even probably want to put up businesses no more. Our people probably don't want to vote no more. You know what I'm saying? They ain't want to do none of that stuff no more because that's what Esau do. He'll put fear in you, man. Oh yeah, them niggas learned the lesson. They better learn this lesson. They ain't gonna want their white. They ain't gonna want to do it no more. They ain't gonna put up no business up no more because they know what we'll do to them. It all go back to the Willie Lynch letter, man. He get in your mind. Esau know that. Once he in your mind, man, he put that fear in your mind. He know it's over with. He know that he gonna be, he gonna be straight. But we breaking those chains off our mind, man. We breaking them off. But you got it.
That was it.
That's it. See, okay, all praises. You know what I'm saying? So that's going into the Camilla massacre. That I'm pretty sure a lot of brothers and sisters didn't know about. But this is our history, man. This happened in Camilla in Albany, Georgia, man. And this just proof to show you how wicked the so-called white man is, man. We got plenty more. We're not gonna do it. We got one more, but out of all the parts that we're gonna do, man, we're gonna get into some more massacres. And our people was always the innocent ones, of course. And they either tried to throw a charge on us to say we did something, but they ain't had no evidence to prove it. They just did it just to come in and, hating. So brothers and sisters, man, just get into your history, man. It's very important because if it wasn't important, they wouldn't try to hide it from you. They would tell us this history. But why do you have to dig, pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for these books, man, to learn about your history? Because they don't want you to know this. Because once they show you this, once they show you these massacres, America's not an innocent country no more. The so-called white man is not an innocent man no more. They show their true colors throughout their history, and that's why they try to bury it. But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah, we're going to dig it up. But you can get the next article, baby.
This is the Atlanta Race Massacre of 1906.
This is the massacre of Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia, the Mecca, the Black Mecca, right? This happened in 1906. 1906, man. We're finna get into what happened. What happened in Atlanta, Georgia, before it became the Black Mecca and the success for so-called Black people. What happened before Atlanta became that? We're finna get into it.
Atlanta was primed for trouble in 1906. Atlantans.
Madness.
Atlantans. What is
She
that?
just said Atlanta people.
Atlanteans. What am I supposed to pronounce it like? Imagine their city as a progressive place with peaceful race relations. Some took comfort from the fact that it was home to 6 black colleges and a growing middle class of African Americans. But beneath the surface was simmering with class and racial tensions. Atlanta was a boomtown, a railroad, an industrial center of 110,000 had unfold since left it in ruins during the Civil War.
Hold up, baby. It's like I'm gonna leave and come back. It's breaking up. So my alarm just went out. Every time my alarm go off, it start breaking up. So I'm gonna leave and come back in.
All right. Welcome back.
My bad, Slocky, man. Forgot to turn my alarm off.
It's okay.
You hear me good?
Perfect.
All praises.
What you eating on?
Bananas.
Yummy. Atlanta was a boomtown, a railroad, and an industrial center of 115,000 that had grown tenfold since Union troops left in its ruins during the Civil War only 4 decades before. The black population was one of the fastest growing segments. Many whites resented the competition for jobs and detested the mingling of races that occurred in an urban center, especially in the salons and dives of a couple of notorious red light districts.
I think you said that right. I think they did salons.
Salons spelled different.
They ain't talking about like the hair salons.
I doubt it. Let me see. It's a public room used for a specific purpose.
Come.
It's like a type of bar. See, this is what it's talking about.
Oh, I'm tripping. When I was reading that article, I'm thinking it's talking about like a salon. I don't know
A
why.
saloon may also be known as a bug house, a gin mill, a grog shop, a shebang. Let's look up what a grog. What is it? A grog shop is, so we know what it's talking about. It's basically like a little hillbilly building.
Yeah, but you know, we probably had it turned though.
Con. Yeah, for sure. During the 1890s and early 1900s, white Southerners reasserted their control over blacks through a number of measures designed to segregate the races and prevent African Americans from voting. Lynchings became more common, and race riots broke out in places such as Wilmington, North Carolina, Brownsville, Texas, and Statesboro, Georgia. Although they were invariably referred to as riots, they more closely resembled massacres in which white vigilantes attacked black communities. Many whites were particularly upset about the supposed threat black men posed to white women. In the winter of 1906, a play opened in Atlanta that pandered to those fears. The Klansmen, based on a novel by Thomas Dixon of the same name, romanticized the Ku Klux Klan and its campaign of terrorism as a proper response to alleged black criminality. Its depiction of a black rapist brought to justice electrified audiences, as they would again in 1915 when the story became the basis for the controversial film The Birth of a Nation. What does The Birth of a Nation got to do with anything?
I don't know. I know that Birth of a 1905. I know it's the movie Birth of a Nation that came out not too long ago, but
What movie is that again?
with Nat Turner,
Oh, okay.
the slave. Okay, he was
Okay.
the slave rebellion.
The imperative to suppress blacks socially and politically dominated public discourse among white Atlantans in 1906. In the weeks leading up to the massacre, two sparks lit the fuse: a rousing political campaign and a newspaper war that reeked with yellow journalism. It was an election year, and black disfranchisement emerged as the central issue in a closely contested Democratic primary for governor. The candidates both had ties to Atlanta's dominant newspapers. Hoke Smith was a former publisher of the Atlanta Journal, while Clark Howell was editor and principal owner of the Atlanta Constitution. Both believed that black citizens should not be allowed to vote, but Howell maintained that existing laws were enough, basically, while Smith proposed new measures to assure disfranchisement and reinforce white supremacy. He won the primary on August 4th.
So these are men that's over the newspaper, over the newspapers. They was over the.
They had ties to it. They went over it. They just had ties, like all you might do.
So they can really make something happen. Like they can really put false news in their newspaper because people read newspaper.
Yeah, so that's what they did. That's why I got to keep reading. That's exactly what they did.
See that?
The media played it. Like, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you good. No, that's facts, though. That's facts.
They said it's facts, Con. The media played a central role in whipping up public hysteria. So when you look up the word hysteria, it means deriving from. No, that's hysterical. That's a hysteria.
That shit made me mad. I ain't gonna even lie. That's madness, man.
There's exaggerated, uncontrollable emotion. Exaggerated. Basically, they capping. Indeed. Atlanta had 4 daily papers in 1906, including the long-established Constitution and Journal and 2 upstarts. A weekly paper for blacks, The Independent, was also published. The 4 dailies were waging a circulation war. Through the summer of 1906, they ran frequent stories about black men assaulting white women, accounts that were lurid, exaggerated, or fabricated. So basically, they was publishing fake news that we were raping Edomite women, that Israelite men were raping Edomite women. So that's what started all this killing and stuff because of the newspaper.
See, that one, and the media still have that power to this day, bro. Notice when brothers and sisters in the industry come out and say we the real Jews or that we the Israelites, they easily got the power to frame that man and say that man did something when he didn't do it. The so-called white man been lying on us since the beginning of time. Going back to Jacob and Esau, when Esau sold Jacob the birthright, but Esau gonna try to sneak and go back and get the birthright that he just sold to Jacob, and then start crying and say he basically didn't. Tried to be sneaky with it. Same thing as here, man. They lied on us, man. They got us murked, got us killed for a lie. Just like these white women used to go around and say, he raped me, got us killed. No, it was false. Just got us caught up in madness. And this is exactly what happened. They had the power to frame us and say we did something and we didn't, just to start a riot and kill us to keep their power. I'm telling you, man, these some evil people, but you got it.
The Evening News went so as far as to call for the creation of a 1,000-man protective league of private citizens. Shall these black devils be permitted to assault and almost kill our women and go unpunished? The paper editorialized on the day before the massacre. So the day before the massacre, that's what was put on the paper.
So they basically got them riled up. Huh?
Nothing.
They probably read the paper and was like, he got a point. Are we gonna let those thinkers rape our women, our precious white women? You think we finna let them rape our women? We're not gonna do nothing about it. What you trying to do, John? What you trying to do, Billy? Grab your shotgun. We're gonna see them tomorrow. We're gonna go meet up with those thinkers tomorrow. I'm telling you, that's exactly what happened, man. The newspapers got them Edomites riled up, man. They started thinking about blood. Right, but you got it.
The press singled out a section of saloons and brothels along Decatur Street. The feverish obsessions of the day, race, sex, drunkenness, mingled into a toxic brew. On Saturday, September 22nd, 1906, thousands of people gathered in the middle of the city near the intersection later known as Five Points. That's where the camps be at. Downtown
Yep.
Atlanta was usually crowded on Saturdays in those days, but this was something different. Many of the white people fomented by the newspaper calls for action had brought weapons. The papers carried news of 4 new rapes and rape attempts that afternoon, the evening news issuing multiple extra editions. Each new alleged outrage further excited the crowds. So they were still publishing these false stories and it was just getting them turned. Around 9 a.m., a group of young men attacked a black bicycle passenger on Decatur Street. The violence quickly escalated. Mobs started assailing anyone with dark skin. They pulled people off the streetcars that intersected around Five Points and beat and stabbed them. They invaded the Kimball House and other fine hotels and dragged black employees into the streets. They shot bystanders and mutilated the corpses, throwing one off the Forsyth Street Bridge. They threw us off of bridges. They barged into black-owned barbershops such as Alonzo's Hernando's establishment on Peachtree Street and assaulted the barbers who had been cutting white men's hair and shining their shoes. One lame boot black was beaten to death.
You know what I'm saying? That's madness, man. Madness. But you see how them so-called y'all see how white people stick together though? We don't do that. They gonna always stick. That's why I said you can have a so-called white friend that you grew up with your whole life. Went to high school with, played football with, went to parties with, stayed the night with. He's still gonna choose his people over you. He's still gonna choose his people over you, no matter what. They're gonna always stick together, man, against you. It's in their blood to do that. If you dating a so-called white woman, you know what I'm saying? She gonna turn on you if when it come down to it, to be down with her people. She gonna do it. They always stick together, man. And they came together and killed all of us on a false charge. And the police didn't even question it. Didn't say, okay, did they really do it? Because they in on it. But you can keep going.
I just looked up Alonzo Hernandez. He was an Israelite brother. He was one of the first so-called African Americans entrepreneurs and he was one of the first Israelite millionaires in the entire world. Like one of the first so-called black brother to be a millionaire. He had his own barbershop.
For real?
This is a picture of it right here.
Dang, man. I know he would cut nice fades too.
But it really most of his customers were Edomites, white men.
Yeah, he had the sauce like that. 25 chairs and 20 baths. You know they were tipping him crazy, boy.
Mm-hmm.
But they ain't had no problem going in there and raking it either after they find
Exactly.
See that? They'll use you. What you saying, baby?
They don't care.
They don't care nothing about them for real. They'll pat him on the head. Thank you, boy, for giving me a good cut. When it come down to it, I bet you those same people he was cutting their hair, I bet you was the same white people that came in there and wrecked this building. I bet you money. They weren't thinking about that haircut he gave them or nothing. They were just looking at him like a nigga. That nigga that cut hair. A nigga that cut fades. That they were looking at him. But you got it.
In a gruesomely symbolic gesture, mob members laid the bodies of 3 of their victims at the base of the Henry Grady statue on Marietta Street, a monument to the newspaper man who had popularized the idea of a New South. So basically, after all of the massacre, they took 3 dead bodies of Israelites and laid them at the bottom of a statue, I guess to make a point.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Evelyn Witherspoon, a 10-year-old white girl whose family lived downtown, never forgot the horrible scene she witnessed late that night. I knew something was going on and came to the window, and there I saw a young man strung up to the light pole. Men and boys on the street below were shooting at him until they riddled his body with bullets. So this man was already dead, strung up on a light pole, and they just kept shooting. Just shooting.
Well, Esau, boy, man. But these people gotta go. These people gotta go. These people cannot get the kingdom of heaven. Why? You got to be out your mind to think they got to go. They gonna get the kingdom of heaven. What type of mindset? These devils got devil mindsets. Who does that? He already dead and you still shooting? That's madness. Insane. Mentally ill. Demon. But you got it.
The violence continued until after midnight when the governor finally called out the state militia and a downpour dissipated the mob, but the unrest wasn't over. Over the next 3 days, skirmishes broke out across the city and vigilantes roamed freely. On Sunday, a mob of whites tried to invade the Darktown neighborhood east of downtown, and a black man was lynched in East Point, south of the city. On Monday and Tuesday, bloody confrontations occurred in Brownsville, a black community on the south side that was home to Clark College and Gammon Theological Seminary. So they wasn't stopping. This was going on for 3 days more.
The one trying to stop.
As it was getting dark on Monday, a posse of 10 police officers armed private citizens marched into Brownsville, where they believed people were stockpiling weapons and planning a counteroffensive. A gun battle ensued. Among the dead were James Hurd, a 30-year-old Fulton County police officer, and George Wilder, a disabled 70-year-old resident who fled slavery during the Civil War and enlisted in the U.S. Army. The police that's supposed to protect us, supposedly, went with the Edomite citizens to come and kill us. And a gun battle broke out.
You know what I'm saying? That's crazy when you think about it. These people were supposed to protect us. That's why you can't trust them. Because they always going to be in the mix. You'll be out your mind and think the police ain't never framed nobody with drugs. You be out your mind and say that. These people are crooked. It's a lot of crooked police. It's a lot of crooked police officers, man, that may smile in your face. They crooked. They do stuff like this. This is madness. This article should kind of be like, bro, these people are devils. Kind of make you kind of mad because we didn't do nothing. And people look at us as the thugs and as the killers, but we the nicest people, bro. We just mind our own business. The devils, it only become a problem when the devils come over to where we at. They still like that to this day. You know what I'm saying? You be having a barbecue, chilling with the fam, playing the music. You always have that. You always have them looking over. Like, what they doing over there? I wonder what they doing. I wonder what they cooking. Trying to be in the mix and trying to know everything. That's what they've been doing since the beginning of time, bro. They've been on that. But the Lord is going to judge these people for the crimes that they done to us. Can you bring it out? I don't think you read it. He that touches me touches it. I know you typed it in. He that touches me, yep.
For thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that touches you touches the apple of my eye.
Right. So the Bible said, the people that touch you, they touch the apple of my eye. The middle part of your eye, the part that you touch, it burns. The Lord say, man, when these people doing all this to you, they touching the apple of my eye. I'm mad, and in due time, I'm gonna come and destroy them and destroy their country. They what the Lord gonna do in due time, man. So Lord willing, this history was edifying, man. Part 3 coming soon, Lord willing. I don't know when, but through the Spirit, some more history coming. Some more hidden history is coming that we gonna dig up and bring to our people, so we could just see, how far we came, and to see how wicked the so-called white man and woman is, and child, and elderly. Right? So with that, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Hawashai. I say Shalom, Kwame Yasharallah.